Butler,
Yes.
could you lead us in prayer, please?
Pray. Father, I thank you for being here in this place, being in everywhere, and in our hearts especially. We ask you today to be with our board here to make decisions that are in your will. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the meeting to order. First thing on the agenda is approve the minutes from the previous meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Damon. Second by Tommy. All in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have approved payment of bills. Motion by Brian. Second by Darren. All in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have approved treasurer's budget transfers as presented.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Darren.
I'll second.
Second by Neil. All in favor? Next, we have approved, where was that? Approved treasurer's monthly settlement.
Make a motion.
Motion by Kevin.
Second.
Second by Tommy. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, next we have approved treasurer's quarterly settlement.
Make a motion.
Motion by Kevin.
Second.
Second by Damon. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, next we have present Grayson County Fiscal Court's proposed budget for 2021-2022.
And everyone got an email today to them.
You all got an email?
Yeah.
So did you all receive that, look over it and all that good stuff?
Make a
So
motion.
we need a motion to accept
We
that?
don't have to.
Oh,
All right,
okay.
so, yeah, Angel's got a certain time that she has, I'm bleeding here, guys, so that's why I was looking at my hand. She's got a certain time, but she's got to send that to you by, so that's why she sent that out, so. All right, the next thing we've got is approve a new bank account for the American Rescue Plan Act Fund. Angel, tell them what's going on with that.
We're gonna be getting like, we're told we're gonna be getting like 5.1 million, but the Treasury's not told us specifics on what we can even spend it on. One minute we're being told that it can draw interest, next minute it can't be. So anyway, we're gonna do a separate bank account and, so that, you know, once we are told, we can treat it exactly the way it needs to be done and we're doing exactly what they say. And but we're supposed to get that middle of May, but who knows, you know.
That question come up in that conference last week, Mindy, was that nobody knows nothing.
Yeah, and they don't.
Nobody.
And they're waiting on the Treasury to tell them, and, I mean, just a waiting game. And I'd say we'll get our money and we still won't know exactly, and I would recommend until that they do release that, us not do anything with the money,
Right.
because we definitely don't want to pay anything back.
Well, they recommended not to spend it because you could have to give it back.
I know.
So,
Well, they put us in a game and they ain't told us the rules of the game.
right.
So that's exactly what's happened. And then if something comes up, they're gonna change the rules of the game.
Yeah.
So, we just need to make sure that we keep it separated from general funds, which we was going to anyway. But, it's in an interest-bearing account that we have now, and they said we might not be able to put it in there, so this is gonna be a non-interest-bearing
Right.
account. So, that's the reason for this. And, you might have some of your, constituents ask you about, you know, we're supposed to be getting this money, and like I said, whether you think it's right or wrong, I don't know, we're gonna get it. It's sort of a moot point, but, we don't know what we can spend it on.
Right.
Now, I do know they've done told us, and it's come up several times, it cannot be spent for roads. So when you all been on enough calls and conference calls already to know that they can't be spent for that, so, but we don't know what it can be used for at this point, so.
Have they given you an in general idea of anything that it will be able to, what are they even suggesting?
No.
Don't know yet until you get the
Nothing at all?
rules, don't know till you get the
No,
rules.
but, they've said economic development and, broadband and, sewer and water, and which there's a different pot of money in Frankfurt for that also, and,
I'm not sure they know themselves.
they don't know.
I was talking to Steve Meredith yesterday. We were talking yesterday, and he said
you know, people calling and wanting, you know, he said, nobody has an idea.
Nobody's
They
got
asked that
any
question
answers.
Several times up there.
So as soon as I have answers, I'll let you all know, because, I mean, we've asked and asked and asked, and nobody can give us one, so. But anyway, we just need to go ahead and open this account up, that way we ain't gotta worry about it later, so. No, I need a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Damon,
Second.
second by Darren, all in favor?
Aye.
Grayson County Health Department's minutes from March 18th, 2021.
Make the motion.
Motion by Tommy,
Second.
second by Kevin, all in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have approved jailer's payment of bills.
I'll make it.
Motion by Neil,
Second.
second by Brian, all in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have approved jailer's construction bills.
Motion.
Motion by
Second.
Darren, second by Damon, all in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have approved jailer's monthly settlement.
Make that motion.
Motion by Neil,
Second.
second by Kevin, all in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have approved jailer's budget transfers as presented.
Make a motion.
Motion by Tommy,
Second.
second by Darren, all in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have the approved sheriff's monthly settlement.
Motion.
Motion by, who made that? Darren,
Second.
second by Tommy, all in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have accept sheriff's settlement for 2019 tax audit.
Make a motion.
Motion by Kevin, second by Tommy, all in favor?
Aye.
Approved county road aid cooperative program agreement and resolution, something we do every year, so just need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Neil,
Second.
second by Darren, all in favor? Next, we have first reading of ordinance related to aggressive dogs. Mr. Lawson?
All right. It's going to take a few minutes for me to discuss. I don't intend to read these ordinances in full, but partially in summary as allowed by the statutes. The first ordinance is an ordinance relating to aggressive dogs. We had a first reading of basically the foundation of this ordinance, but I believe that based on our discussions here and some other questions from the community, that it need to be substantially reworked as far as just the clarity of what happens when dogs, when this happens, and what the animal control officer's supposed to do. Basically, so we've restarted. We could have had a second reading, but I thought it was appropriate based on the time frame and then the reconstruction of this to just go ahead and do a new first reading so that if anybody had any input. I've had a couple calls since we advertised in the paper concerning this first reading. Pretty much similar questions. Nobody really had any concerns or objections that I'd heard of. But basically with aggressive dogs, it is to address the issue of uncontrolled aggressive dogs causing a danger or inconvenience to persons on their own private property, public roadways, county roadways, state highways, county road right-of-ways, or state highway right-of-ways. Harassing, basically the subject, it's called aggressive dogs in the title, but it's really harassing dog, which is a domestic canine that has behavior when it acts in an aggressive manner towards any person. A non-exclusive example list would be chasing a motor vehicle, chasing cyclists, chasing passersby on foot, growling, barking, biting, attempted biting, while they're in a prohibited property. That means someone else's property. The neighbor's dog's coming over bothering you every day. This ordinance allows us to address that. Comes over and bites you. You still have a civil cause of action for damages, but this, if many people don't want to take the avenue, this gives them something in the ordinance that this person could be fined. And then if the animal is found still on that private property, then it can be taken up by animal control. And the owner or the person responsible for that dog, if it is taken up by the animal control officer on someone else's property or in the middle of the road, then while that dog is being held, if it's a vicious animal, then I would advise the person to pursue harboring a vicious animal, which is a whole nother section of state law, or that person would be paying for the cost of care of the animal. Like if the shelter's holding it, it's kind of a county action. We don't want to be responsible for that ultimately. We deal with that issue a lot in cases of cruelty to animals. It's always kind of you've got to figure everything out very quickly, and you've got to have a plan. And so we think that addresses that appropriately. Further, the original ordinance that was the foundation for this included the animal control officer to have greater ability to go on someone else's property, the owner's property, to get the animal. I've restricted that and said that in that case, they would get with the sheriff's office, and I talked to Norman about this, about getting a search warrant. And so it's just kind of balancing the people's freedom on their own property versus this need to address this. And I think that this ordinance, which you have in front of you, does that well. But when it comes down to it, this is a finable offense. We can create ordinances in the county which come with jail time. But on issues like this, we believe that it can be addressed properly in court with a fine, or just the nature of the procedure. Does anybody have any questions?
I agree with that, how you change that. I think that's better.
So are we gonna be doing, if it is found that they're in violation, is the sheriff's office gonna be doing the citation, or will the animal control officer be doing the citation?
The animal control officer, under section 3A, shall investigate any complaint of a violation of this ordinance and shall assist the county attorney in prosecution of the charges. However, if he needs assistance with the search warrant or some investigation,
Sure.
because he's going to be the first one out there. Basically, we're going to handle, me and Todd are going to handle this type of procedure.
Okay.
And so, but he might need some assistance from
Sure.
one of your deputies or something like that.
Absolutely.
Any questions?
Will this also cover animals other than dogs and cats?
This one is just concerning dogs being aggressive towards people. It doesn't cover any other animals in the canines. The second ordinance, in which Darren had brought up last time, and the court had asked me to draft something, that, we'll get to that in a minute, but that covers some other animals. And so there's probably going to be some more discussion on that matter.
They're two separate.
Yeah.
All right, with no further discussion. Need a motion on the floor to move the first reading forward.
I'm gonna get a motion.
Motion by Darren,
Second.
second by Kevin, all in favor?
Aye.
Will be any opposed? Unopposed. Okay, this first reading. Next, we have first reading of an ordinance related to dogs, injuring livestock, and other domestic animals.
Thank you, Judge. This ordinance, both these ordinances I've modeled off other ordinances from other counties who maybe have a larger population, but some of it you have to kind of work toward how things happen in this county and what we've seen in the past. The issue is that when someone owns a dog, then in this county, sometimes they injure livestock, mostly cattle. Sometimes they injure other domestic dogs or cats. I've included that in here just because those are kind of the common complaints. And before I summarize this, well, actually I'll read some pretty big sections from this, but this type of injury to your animal is there's already a civil cause of action under the Kentucky Revised Statutes. So anyone that has an animal, cattle, whatever, that's injured by someone else's canine, they can sue under the KRS for damages to that animal. I think that the issue is that many times people don't want to have to take that action. They want the issue addressed, but they don't want to have to actually file suit against someone. That's kind of benefit to living in this type of county is we're not generally a litigious people. We don't like to bring suits. And so this also would be a finable offense. Let me kind of talk about this. So this ordinance is to address the issue of uncontrolled aggressive dogs injuring livestock, domestic dogs, and domestic cats on the private property of others. Your dog runs out in the street and someone neighbor's dog comes over there and tears it up, then that's not covered by this. It's about animals coming into your fields or animals coming into your yards. Now, an injurious dog means a dog that has attacked, physically injured, or killed another owner's livestock as defined under KRS 25809, or dog or cat. Dog or cat means domestic dog or cat. Now, the prohibitive clause, section 2, no owner of a dog shall fail to exercise proper care and control of his or her dog in such a manner which thereby allows the dog to enter onto another's private property, attack and physically injure that owner or his or her guest, livestock, domestic dog, or domestic cat. It's a violation of this ordinance for an owner of dog to fail to, basically that same language. Animal control officer shall investigate any complaint of violation of this ordinance and shall assist the county attorney in prosecution of such a charge if issued. The animal control officer shall not attempt to procure and hold any dog under this ordinance, so it's much different than our prior ordinance, but shall consult with the county attorney concerning the filing of a civil complaint for harboring a vicious dog to be heard by a judge of district court. And these penalties are $100 to $250 for each violation, but it also includes, if convicted under this ordinance in district court, the cost of care of any animal held pursuant to related action for harboring a vicious animal shall be the sole responsibility of the offender upon conviction. This cost of care of the injured livestock, dog, or cat shall be the sole responsibility of the offender. However, any replacement damages concerning the death of livestock, dog, or cat cannot be recouped under this ordinance and must be sought by that KRS 235. So basically, there's a fine, but if you want to recoup any, it's going to be, it's very difficult for us under using these criminal ordinances to determine the value of these animals, because someone say, well, they killed my, registered heifer or whatever, and it's worth this. Well, that becomes, when you start doing that in criminal cases concerning the restitution, then it starts turning into a civil case. You have these civil type hearings, and that's not what we're going after. We're just trying to put this prohibition out there and give the people who've had these situations another option. Counterbalance to this, and which me and Darren talked about, is we include livestock. That's a broad section under the law that includes pigs, goats, all kinds of things. But also we have many times where a dog will get into it with another dog. We have injuries, but us being able to prove that that dog caused that injury, unless we have an eyewitness or something like that, it makes it difficult. And so there is with this one, there is a capacity for kind of an unknown how many complaints we're going to get, and how many we'd actually, even if we got valid complaints, how many we'd actually be able to prove under this. So I just wanted to be open and honest with the court concerning this matter.
Questions?
So in other words, they have to prove this before this one's worked. In other words, you have to take a picture of it. In other words, you got that.
Well, yeah, the injury is going to be easy to prove.
Right.
Because, the animal's either going to have injuries that Todd sees or the animal officer after him sees, but, if you have two neighbors that have had a history, you're going to say, I've heard many times over the phone, well, I know who injured, or I know whose dog did this, or I know which dog did this, but we don't have the proof there to actually move forward with the charge. Livestock, it seems less so, because usually you have the precursor of, well, these dogs have been chasing my cattle over the field. You hear that. I end up sending letters, saying, look, please stop this, keep your dogs up, because if not, you're going to be liable for possible damages. Just like a dog bite. you know, but,
Questions, discussion? Anything at all? Entertain a motion to accept the first reading of the ordinance related to dogs injuring livestock and other domestic animals.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Darren, second by Tommy, all in favor? Any opposed? Next, we have other new business, Norman. Grayson.
Yeah, I was approached, I think it was a week ago, I texted the judge about it, but airport board says the van that they have out there that they use for transport, which belongs to the county, is basically out of service, so they asked if we had one at the jail that we could replace that one with, and we do. So I don't know that it's something we need to vote on, but we need to allow them to use this vehicle.
I think we need to probably get a motion and vote on it just because we're transferring it.
So this one is a 2013 15-passenger Chevrolet Express. The last four of the VIN is 6031.
If you'll give me that, I'll give it to Charlotte, that way she can put it in the minutes, right?
And then the one that they have, I guess you
Yeah.
guys just sell it or whatever.
Yeah, we'll just sell it on Gov Deals and be done with it, or, because y'all got some stuff on there now, don't you?
No, but we can have. We got
Okay.
some stuff we can put on. So.
Yeah, motion to transfer the van from Grayson County Detention Center, which is, it's used, I mean, the use of service is done over there, correct?
Yeah, it's still in
Still
decent
in-
shape,
Okay,
but it's one of the older ones we have, so.
okay,
It's not getting
transfer
used a
that
lot.
from the detention center to the Grayson County Airport Board.
I make the motion.
Motion by Tommy,
Second.
second by Darren, all in favor? And Charlotte, if you don't care, just put the last four of the VIN and all that on there, that way Frida knows where it went. 'Cause we,
So it's actually Grayson County Airport Board?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. All right, Kevin, no, nothing?
No, sir.
Darren, Tommy?
I don't know if old business or new business, but Kenny Haycraft's here with it.
Yeah, we can go around.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Damon?
No, sir.
Brian?
No, sir.
That? Jeremy?
Yeah, I've got just some updates, very quickly. One is last week, I got some calls, from some different locations, government offices, city offices, and, a representative concerning the mask mandate. It was a big question, last week, whether or not the mask mandate was still in effect, and it is. That's my opinion. There was a couple courts that had made some rulings out of Franklin County and Scott County, and one of them had done an injunction. That information had been spread saying that the mask mandate had
When you say courts, you mean circuit courts?
certain courts, right. And what that injunction actually was in Scott County, I believe, could get them mixed up, but they had stopped the mask mandate from applying to the parties in that actual suit. So there was like 5 locations that there's not a mask mandate in that county. And there are challenges going up on that. This is not a political conversation that I'm involved with. I just wanted to give you the answer that the governor's order is still in legal effect now. So if anybody calls you, we had someone actually come to the health department and was trying to get the information about why they have to wear a mask in there. This person had also been to one in neighboring county to also is whatever, but I just, as of right now, the mask mandate still isn't a thing.
Any questions about that, guys? Anything? Mr. Kenny?
I've got a problem, and I guess it's a double problem in a sense, with a neighbor just up the street from me. I think probably all of you knows who he is, but there's an old road bed that goes up and it goes to a cemetery. Then it goes on up beside of Harold Flinder's property and everything, goes all the way back to my property. Way back in there. Well, I don't know what his name is, y'all might know him, but there in Marvin Kuiper's old rock house, where Marvin used to live, this guy's got it rented, the house. He blocks that road. But the other thing that got my feathers ruffled, I guess you could say, is way back up there, I've got a junk pile. Well, the other day, a bunch of stuff was gone out of it. So I go to my next door neighbor, Daniel. That's the first person I suspected. Wasn't him. So I go on up, I was on my side by side, start up that road, seen it stacked up right there behind his house. Well, he went to screaming at me about me being in that road. I just backed up, sitting in the road. Well, he started on me, just up one side down the other, that I had no business in that road and I couldn't go up it. Well, I've used that road, been up down that road for over 50 years, because I grew up right there. Well, I said, my thing with you, and this is why I was up here, was looking for stolen stuff. And I said, you got it, sitting right over there. And his answer to that was, ain't nothing to you, it was back there in the junk pile. I said, the junk pile's on me. And I said, and you can't close this road. Which he's done that 2 or 3 times, Tommy knows. And so he got in front of me trying to block me. That didn't work. Well, then he picked up a rock and was going to hit me. I said, that ain't going to work either. So anyway, from my understanding, going to a cemetery, you cannot block the road, period. But I've got Harold Flinder's easement and everything right here that states about the cemetery. Harold's got a 30-foot easement all the way back to his property. Says it used to be probably an old public road. But anyway, not very often, but I go to my field back there that way. Harold's asked me now to bush hog his field. Well, that's the access. Well, I'm tired of having an issue with him and him blocking the road and everything. Told him I was going to call the law. And he said, you call the law and you'll see what happens. So to me, that was a threat.
I went down there 2 years ago, Tom, was it?
Yes,
I
sir.
think Darren actually rode with me. We went down there and looked at it. It's whenever you called the first time,
Right.
and I looked down there and I said, look, this could have been a county road a long time ago,
Right.
but it's not now. And of course, it's, you know, it's growed up. You
Oh,
get
yeah.
in there at the side by side.
Oh yeah, I've been up there in my truck.
And then this came up, I can't remember, was it you that said something to me? Was it? Somebody did, I can't remember who it
I'll
was.
tell you what's possible is Kevin Eschew's bought every bit of that farm now.
Yeah, somebody said something to me and I said, yeah, we already know about that. I said, it's not county maintenance, so it really has nothing to do
Well,
as far as we go, as far as maintaining it. I said, but there's probably some type of easement there. And
Oh, I've got it right
according to
here.
you, that's some type of easement, so I'm gonna refer to the county attorney for.
and I can't remember, Curtis Wells told me today, we was talking up there, Dusty King's. Curtis said that they had this issue, and they used to take care of that road and the cemetery. He was saying somewhere in some kind of files that's up there at the courthouse, that a cemetery that does not have a church is to be maintained by the county. Now, that's not my issue, don't get me wrong. I don't care if you maintain it or not.
Yeah.
But my thing is, if I take an ocean and go through that road, I don't want to be dealing with him.
Yeah.
And I don't want him back there stealing off of my property. I talked to you the other day about stuff, come up with some other stuff missing. There's a big, that Brandon, my boy, built, that my wife used for pigeons and everything. It was sitting back up there. It's gone.
Can you
I don't know how-
not report that stolen?
Well, I talked to Norman about it, and they told me I need to get in that dumb camera and film it. To me,
Having trespassed.
these boxes and stuff that he has stolen is where I get between cars. Now he's taking them apart. But I can take you pictures of some boxes, and you go right up there and match it to the lumber that he's got laying right there. Nail holes and all. And if I can get back up there behind his house good, to where I can see, I'm satisfied he's got that cage sitting up there. Ain't nobody else been back up there and stole it. I don't know how he's getting it all out of there. That's my thing. I don't know how he's getting it all out of there.
Well, it sounds like, Kenny, what you need to do is, it's not a court issue because it doesn't pertain to the road. It is the county attorney and the sheriff would have to work together to,
But then again, it pertains to the road if I wanna go up through there.
The road is not a county
no,
road.
it's
so
not a
that-
county road. It don't pertain to us. It's an easement, then it pertains to it being criminal if he's blocking your easement. Or it could be civil also. That's why we're referred to him.
What I'd like to do concerning the road, because it's not a county road, these guys can't do anything. We got an investigation we need to talk about.
Right.
But also, I'd like to talk to you about your rights on that road. So
Right.
I'd invite you. What I'll do is I'll have my assistant try to set up a time for you to come talk to me.
Right.
Okay?
Right. And I mean, that's what I'm saying. But I don't like a thief. Y'all all know that. I mean, you know what I've done with thieves. I mean, in my own family. So I don't like a thief. And if you go back up there and steal like that, he'll steal anything. You know, there's been Henry Basham out there that owned the property, he stole a lawnmower of Henry's. And they found it way back up there in the woods. Henry said, I know he's one done it. But I don't want to catch him back up there. I mean, if I catch him,
Here's, and of course, we had a long talk with you the day you came in
Right,
our office.
right.
And yes, we did tell you the video.
Right.
We didn't tell you that there wasn't gonna be anything done.
oh no, I know that.
So,
Yeah.
you know, photographing and having, if we had pictures of what was taken, because even if he has some on his property that you said that was yours, you still gotta have proof that it was yours. And whether, either through something, identifying numbers, or something we can enter. But
Well, if
you
I
said
can
it was
get
in
back
the junk
over
pile.
on that corner and get a picture of that kennel, because it's a red stained oak with a green roof on it. And if I can get back around, I'm trying
Well,
to
I don't
catch,
want you to go, I don't want you going on anybody's property.
I'm not going over
Well,
here, but if I can get in that
Sonny's still
field next
following-
door,
Sonny's still following up and doing
Right.
some stuff on it too, so.
right.
We'll make sure the criminal part is taken care of, and make
But-
sure that next time, if somebody goes out there, I also told you to have Mr. Fleener come in and file a complaint about blocking his, way to whatever his property is located, and also we're gonna get with, Mr. Eskew and discuss issues about making.
See, that's what
Because he's just a renter, he's not an owner. so-
Harold gave me the rights to go back in and out to my property. He's gave me that, and like I said, then he's wanting me to use it. So if I go down there and go up through that road and he comes out there, what's my issue? What am I supposed to do?
If he comes out there and what?
And trying to block the road like he done me the other day.
Call dispatch.
He did us that way. I guess it was 2019, because we didn't do any mowing last year, but we went up and mowed that cemetery, and when they came back down the hill, he had the road blocked. And with a mower, and my guy just got out of the truck, moved the mower, got back in it, and went on. And of course, we didn't mow last year, so we haven't got down there yet this year yet.
And it is an issue, I mean.
It's a shame. This is a shame. Somebody dug holes, set posts, poured concrete and everything, and put a daggone, deer stand in the middle of that cemetery. I don't know who, ain't got no, but that's a shame. I mean, it is, that's really a shame. It's an old cemetery. It's
Oh,
old.
yeah, it's old.
I mean, but, you know,
Who
this
owns that
guy,
property? Who owns that property?
Harold,
Have him take it down.
right now, it's all rotted and failed, and you see the concrete and everything. I mean, that part's a shame. Now, that ain't no joke, that's a
What
shame.
does the law actually say on a cemetery such as that about access?
Well, there's, not having reviewed them recently, but I have reviewed it before, that if you own property that has a cemetery, if there is a next of kin, a family member who has a relative, they can't have access to that cemetery. But it doesn't sound like that's quite our situation here. Thank you.
Right there, it states about it.
I'd like to have that question asked before.
Like I said, I don't have a clue, and I'm not up here to holler about taking care of the cemetery or nothing like that. We just started Dustin's today and talking, and Curtis said that back when Gary was judge, he said they took care of them and stuff. And Curtis asked the question about, was it legal, whatever, and something, he told me, my memory, count. And he said, go up here and find it, and he said it is in there, that if there's not a church, then the county is supposed to maintain and keep access to a cemetery.
Jason and them do mow it, but they haven't been able to.
Right, I understand that, and I'm gonna take Jason in for them to get up there and mow it right now. It's a pain, no doubt, because those roads is.
Is that an ordinance, Kevin, that we do maintain roads to cemeteries?
Actually, to be quite honest with you,
Cemetery.
the state has said on some of these roads, and of course, this is what had been done in the past. It wasn't in just this county, it was
Right.
every county. I mean, there was a lot of counties that we can't spend municipal aid money on cemetery roads.
Oh, that come up.
I mean, that, you all probably heard that
Yeah.
in some of your magistrate's
Yeah.
training.
Yes, sir.
We cannot spend county money, municipal aid money,
Yeah.
on maintaining a cemetery, and the reason is because, say Kenny was back there, say Kenny lived up on his property, okay? And there's people that has throwed up 4 or 5 sandstone rocks and said, hey, there's no cemetery back here.
Yeah.
And then we end up taking care of 2 miles of road. But it is it is law that we cannot, we don't have to do it. And I mean, some of these ones that's been done in the past, we have adopted and we take care of those cemetery roads just like we took Logston Cemetery Road. Of course, it's been on there for a long time, you know, it's blacktop road, but I'm just using it as an example, so don't everybody get worked up on what I'm saying. But I mean, it's there's some of those roads that goes back to these cemeteries that are on our county maintenance list.
See, that paper.
There's some that are not, and actually, Jeremy might, I mean, it'll take him maybe a little bit to find it, but, I mean, you all have said in those classes. You all have said in them.
It's not on there, we got 27.
Yeah.
And what I think he's referring to is, and Jeremy probably, or Jason probably knows this, the cemetery basically has to be abandoned before they can even, any more than one, is that all right on this?
Yeah,
Go in and even mow it. That's why,
That one is.
I don't think the church
Yeah, that
says
one
anything.
is.
Yeah,
That's what gives him the right to go on it and mow it.
Right, exactly.
But I still
And
have to
now-
have permission of the landowner.
Now, me personally, I ain't gonna lie to you. I mean, cause I can get in and out, that's not an issue. Up and down there, whatever I wanna go up there with. I've been up and down there in my truck. I don't really want it opened up to where everybody drive up and down in there, you know what I'm saying? If that cemetery was on my property, I'd clean it up, but it ain't on my property, you know? But, I don't want an issue if I wanna go up through there, and then, like, you know, we're talking about that, Jeremy, on, something about him coming on my property and stealing. You know, because that's exactly what he's done. And
You look
he
at
ain't gonna
something,
admit it
Jeremy,
to you
are
all,
looking at
but he
something?
admitted it to me.
Yeah, it's just that, you know, the law says if it's a private family cemetery, the family's responsible for the maintenance of it. If it's not a private family cemetery, then the owners, the family members of each plot is responsible for the maintenance of it. And that's why we have a lot of, you know, cemeteries that have, you know, trust, they're owned in trust, they have people that maintain it. A lot of them don't, you know, because over time, the people that care about maintaining the cemetery fall off, but, no, it would be inviting a lot of liability.
I think Kevin is, he just bought all that property. And I talked to him the other day, but he was in a hurry. He said I was number 7. Really come to him about that guy in less than 2 weeks. So.
Well, just get with Jeremy, like I said, just get with Jeremy and Norman, and it sounds like that, you know, they should be able to help with the problem. Of course, you know, as far as the magistrate and the court goes, you know, as far as us doing anything legal wise, I mean, there's nothing really we can do, you know, as far as that goes. So it would be through him or Norman or a civil court.
Right. Well, I talked to Tom and stuff, and that's what he told me to come up here. I mean, you know, like I said, I ain't up here raising no cane, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Just trying to figure out what I can and what I can't do.
Yeah.
And because,
We'll start out with you told me I'm doing a bad job.
yeah, I did.
That's why I told him.
I told him I shouldn't have come up here, he should speak for me.
All right, old business. Norman, anyone? Anyone? No one? Motion to adjourn.
I make a motion.
Motion Brian, second by Tommy, all in favor?
Aye.